Hey there, welcome back to a brand new video. My name is Musa Jallo. In today's video, I'm going to be reacting to a video from BBC News Africa, and the video is entitled Why We Left America to Live in Africa, BBC Africa documentary. So with no further delay, let's get into the reaction.
One can't legislate the hearts of man. You can't legislate the opinions of man. Racism in America, unfortunately, it's something that I think will always be there.
Racism is there, staring you in the face, and I am not sure if there's any way around it or out of it or anything that will fix it. And this is the reason why we left.
Man, this is like so sad to see like in 21st century, people still have this kind of a problem. Like I know no way it's perfect, but it's like really so sad to see.
Been in Uganda for about 2 years off and on. Now this year I decided to stay permanently. So I chose to be here because the cost of living is much more maintainable, and I don't feel like I'm in danger anymore. Like there's other things that I have to be worried about, but
I'm gonna admit, right? Uganda is like such an amazing country. I've been to Uganda before, but like like it's not, maybe it wouldn't be as advanced as maybe like South Africa or maybe Tanzania or maybe even Ghana. Maybe it wouldn't be that advanced, but the people are nice, the culture is nice, they all speak English. So it's like you feel kind of at home being there. I feel like it is a nice place to be actually. And they love the party actually. Ugandans, they love the party.
I don't feel like a target. I don't feel like someone wants to take my life or wants to control my life just because of my color.
We are in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania, and we've been here for about 5 months. When we came here, the ultimate decision-making aspect was seeing how happy the children were here and how easily they made friends. And that was such a relief to me, and I was so happy. And we decided to stay. We just fell in love with Tanzania.
That is like so crazy, man. Like it's like so crazy to think about, like if you are Black American, you come to Africa, like if you don't like stop talking, people wouldn't even realize like, oh, you're not from here, or you're from somewhere else. That is like so crazy. So that's why I feel like these people, when they come back, they kind of like find it easier to transition. But I know like it's not easy to live in Africa. I'm not gonna sit here and be like, oh, Africa is better than America or better than Europe. We have our own problems there. Like the same way they have their own problems in America. But some people find it easier to transition there. But like it's not easy on the other end.
Just wanted to feel somewhere where we felt at home.
I'm joined by diaspora repatriate Mr. Brian Wheeler.
I've been in Africa for a little over 11 years now.
Wow.
I've always felt that Africa was and is home. I've always felt that I'm an African, although an African in the diaspora. It was a natural feeling. Once I landed on the continent, I felt so at home, I felt at ease, and I felt at peace. It was a natural emotion to want to move to Africa.
Life
Oh my God, this looks so like Uganda.
here in Uganda is much more manageable than life was in America. In America, I constantly felt on pressure. I constantly felt stressed because I always have to make ends meet. I wouldn't even be able to enjoy my paycheck. Oftentimes, I wouldn't even get days off because I'm constantly working and I'm constantly trying to prove my worth in a country that has basically made.
Like this guy right now is saying he looked like almost every other African to me. Like I see nothing different on him. If I would have just seen him and guessed which part of Africa he's from, I would have probably said like instead around like maybe from like the Southern African part. It's crazy actually when you think about it like this.
My people look like we are worthless.
The biggest difference is, for me, is peace of mind. I just have a peace of mind. I believe my family and my children have a peace of mind on the continent that potentially they may have not had in America.
Life here is much more relaxed and laid back. Honestly, everywhere I've been on the continent so far, I feel much more safe here than I ever felt in the United States.
Alright, so this is plane number 1, going to Doha.
Then from Qatar, Doha, Qatar, Abu Dhabi. When I was young, I didn't really know a whole lot about Africa. I was very ignorant to how Africa was. But as I got older, I started to want to move here more and more until I actually made it happen.
Oh my God, this look like Victoria in the background, Like, I feel like this is like really so sad. Like, you have like Black Americans or African Americans, that they are not being like taught about Africa. Some people literally think like Africa is just one big village, like that people live in huts, like that we chase the lion in the morning when we wake up from bed. It's funny, but like that's how some people feel like, But Africa is way, way much more than that, Like there is like so much variety, there is so much difference, vibrant culture, innovation, like businesses happening, businesses are booming and stuff like that. So there's like really, really a lot to do in Africa, Like you just have to like have the right mindset. Of course, things go a bit differently than how things go in the Western world, For example, if I want to open a bank here in like Norway, I don't have to go to the bank, I can just do everything right on my phone, But then also, if you want to like open that same bank account in like maybe Liberia or Sierra Leone, it might take you multiple days to like get that account up and running, So it's crazy actually.
Marcus Garvey taught us that Africa is for those at home and those abroad. America was founded on the backs of enslaved Africans. So racism in America is as American as apple pie. I have not experienced racism in Africa, but I have experienced some prejudice and some stereotypes in Africa.
But that's the thing, like most African countries, maybe like South Africa is the exception, like, but I feel like most African countries that they have like any explicit like racism, But what most African countries have, I'm not even gonna sugarcoat it, is like tribalism, Like me being a Fulani, back in the day, some people be like, "Oh, Fulani, I don't like you because he like Bandingo, or like because he like from this other tribe, It's crazy, but like tribalism is like one problem also,
I grew up in a predominantly white suburb outside of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. In my opinion, Pittsburgh in general is extremely racist. Because we grew up where we grew up, I've dealt with it from when I was young until I left and went to college. I've been called the N-word from elementary school. I mean, I've gotten into confrontations with other kids, and it's something that honestly, I would be here all day if I was telling you all the experiences that I had with racism in the United States.
Man, that is like so sad, especially like you being a kid, because like normally kids they don't care about these things, So if a kid experience racism from another kid, most likely to land it from the parents or from the adults around them, It's things like this shouldn't be happening. It's like really so sad, I don't know, like why would you just wake up and be like, "Oh, I don't like this person," Or why would you just wake up and be like, "Well, I don't like this person because of the color of the skin," Like I've never like one day wake up in my life and be like, Chinese people, I don't like them, Like why? It's really so crazy, But I feel like things like this really need to stop,
Really, from being followed in stores to being pulled over by police for no reason to,
I like how the kid was like passing in the background, like hiding himself.
being talked down to because those microaggressions are important and generally speaking, we do recognize them when it happens. To not being offered jobs, to, I could just, I'll be here all the day, explaining to you on a daily basis what it is like to be Black in America.
I remember very clearly the first year we lived in Oman. We had this little compact car, and we were just, taking these little road trips and driving. And I had this moment of like, I wonder if this is what white people feel like in America. Like, the whole road is yours. The whole land is yours.
That's why I feel like, it's like really so important, like Black Americans come back to like Africa, because like I feel like I don't mean like everybody should move to Africa, but I mean like even just to visit to see, because I feel like it's like so freeing for you to not be the minorities, I remember I went to Uganda, right? And then like I was trying to go to like this tourist attraction. There was like, oh, if you're Ugandan, I think it's free. But if you're like a non-Ugandan, you have to pay like I think they say $15 US. You have to pay to get inside. But guess what? I was sitting in the car. I didn't because of course I don't have a Ugandan accent. I don't speak their language. But I didn't see a word. So they just like counted all of us in the car as Ugandan. Me being all from West Africa. Like so they just saw me like as it's probably from Uganda. So like it is like so crazy to think about.
You don't have to fear for your safety or feel like, oh no, I might end up in a racist part of town.
I honestly don't know if it'll ever be dealt with appropriately, in my opinion. And this is the reason why we left.
All my black brothers who don't deserve to die by a gun.
Why should this baby be the one protesting like Black Lives Matter and stuff like that? It is like really so sad because like basically this one, they're like taking a child away from her. Like, but the thing is like this whole problem of racism. If we didn't have this problem, then this kid probably wouldn't have been doing this thing around here. It's crazy, man. It's crazy.
No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace.
Somebody needs to stand up. Our nation needs to stand up. Back up. Back up.
Oh my God! Look at this one. Like the way he holding her by the braids.
Back up. Back up.
I was just pulled over really quickly back there on the way out of my part of town. And, they do that sometimes just to check your license and what have you. And the interaction that I had with this police officer, I don't think he's ever pulled me over before. And he was so nice. He asked me where I was going. He said, "Are you okay? Is everything all right?" He didn't even take my license. And he was joking with me a little bit, and that's it. And he just kind of sent me on my way. And, after that, I got a little emotional because I just started thinking about, like, how different that experience would have been in the United States. Because even if you don't die or you don't get completely violated by the police officers in the United States, it's still not a good interaction.
I don't know. I feel like it's because of like I don't want to say stigma. I don't think that's the right word. But I think it's because of the fear. So like even though if the police officer don't mean any harm, but you as the passenger, you're always like worried like, oh my God, what if it's like one of those racist ones, So it's like you always have like that fear in the back of your mind. I feel like there's no way to live also, like it's crazy. I really like the US, like New York City is like one of my most favorite city in the world. I want to visit it. I even want to live there one day, but when I hear a story like this, it really makes me feel sad, because I feel like the country is like it's like so powerful, they have like so much potential. Of course, they are like the biggest economy in the world, and all that. I still feel like they have way more to do when it comes to like social issues, like injustices, like police brutality and stuff like that, But it's really so sad to see.
When it comes to us.
Fortunately, the only interactions I did have with the police were basically traffic stops. But even traffic stops oftentimes are extremely stressful.
The difference between policing here in Uganda and America is drastic. I mean, here in Uganda, police have their own way of doing things, but they don't target people specifically that I know of just to harass you or to take your life or whatever the case may be. I mean, there are some situations that are questionable here, but for the most part,
yeah, like the police in Africa is like most countries, like the corruption, Once some of them, right, if they hear your accent, they hear like you're not from there, like the first thing that comes to your mind, oh, I have to make money from this guy,
You're not being targeted just because of your color or your race or your nationality.
Brian and Rukia share their views on raising their kids.
Well, I'm very comfortable raising my children in Africa. My children adapted well. They've integrated completely in society, and they are fortunate to live in a country where they're judged by the content of their character and not the color of their skin.
That is, this sounds so simple, but it's like really so powerful. Like you should be judged by the content of your character, not the color of your skin. That is like, I don't know. I know it's a famous quote. Somebody said it. It sounds so simple, but I feel like it's so powerful. Because like even in Norway, like if you apply for some jobs, like if they see you, and they're like, we don't want this kind of a name here, Like even one time, like me, I applied for a job. Like they even thought I was Arab because like my name is Musa, So like, So like literally people start profiling like from your names, you know, like so like I know some people, you know, they'll like literally change their name. Like to like maybe Jan Olafsson or Christopher Peter, so like something crazy like that, you know, to have like a typical Norwegian name because like they don't want them to send like a CV outside. Then people be like, your name is Musa Jallo, you know, I don't want Musa, you know, that maybe it's Arab or African, you know, I don't want this kind of people working, you know. It is so sad, but it's true, it happens, you know, like it's really so sad.
This, in my opinion, is one of the biggest blessings of them living on the continent.
Raising my family here brings me a sense of relief that I know my children will be safe. I know that they'll make friends much more easily. And I know that they'll actually have a chance to be children. And I feel like in the United States, children have to grow up so, especially black children, have to grow up so fast because they have to learn that they can't really fully be themselves. I want them to be free to be themselves. And
because me, I remember when I was that young, like, I'm gonna say this, I'm gonna sound naive, but like even like the N word, it was like long when I was like maybe around like 15, 16 years old before I got to know like that was like a derogatory term, you know. Like for me, all I used to think like when you say like the N word, it's like, oh, it's cool, you know, that's what people say in the music, you know. Because like the idea of race, growing up in Africa, we don't have it, you know. But I feel like also like the African societies need to do more to like teach people about what like the black or the African Americans are going through in the US, you know. Like we have to do more to like learn about those things, you know. If I'm being honest, we learned about like the slave trade, but we don't like, at least when I was in school, we didn't talk about like the current events or things that is happening today, you know, or the social injustices that is happening today, you know. But we learn about like the Atlantic slave trade and stuff like that, you know.
And I don't have to fight to do that. I can do it easily and effortlessly.
If I have a choice in the matter, no, I would not move back there. There are 54 different countries in Africa, I think it's 55 actually. So I can choose a different country if need be, but there is no reason for me to have to go back to America to face what I have dealt with my entire life.
I have family still in America, so I anticipate going back, of course, to visit my family, but I don't anticipate ever moving back to America because I really feel at home where I am.
My final thoughts about living here in Uganda is that there's no problem or no struggle that people here can't overcome. So if we all just work together and each one teach one and we all help each other out, I believe that we can build a much better community with Africans who are coming from abroad and Africans who are here on the continent.
You know, like recently I made a video from Ghana about a house that was like 90,000. It was like really so small, you know. It wasn't up to standard for that price. But then people will market this house towards these people who are coming from overseas who don't really know the African continent, to try to like rip them off and stuff like that, you know. Which I feel like it's not nice to do, you know. But rather we should like look to like learn from each other, you know, work with each other, be fair to each other. And it will help to like better the African continent, you know, like because it is so crazy to think about, you know, like these people, they have like so much expertise, you know, but guess what? They don't know the African continent, you know. And we maybe like some people on the African continent, they know the landscape, they know how things work, but they don't have the capital, you know. So like if these two people like come together and merge together, then they can make like a really big business, you know. They can do like really well for themselves, you know. But I feel like we have to like really be honest and like really work with each other, you know.
Africa, I look at holistically. I see all of Africa as my home.
America is not in reality the way it has been presented to most of the world. And now I think most of the world is beginning to see that. If you're from the continent and you want to go to America, I feel like you should probably rethink that and think about rebuilding what you have here, because what you have here is so much more beautiful and magnificent than what you could ever find somewhere else.
I kind of get a point, you know, like you know, there's a lot of opportunities on the African continent, you know. But and I'm gonna be honest with you, like right, most people on the African continent, like who are there, the reason why people try to go overseas, is like even like that little capital to like start the business, you know. Like it's like so hard to get this kind of access to this kind of money, you know, to start business, you know. Because like me living in Norway, if I like save money for like 2-3 years, I can go back to Africa with like $100,000, you know, and I can start a really big business and I become successful from that, you know. But if I'm in Africa, I have no chance of getting that kind of money to start a business, you know. Because if you go and get a loan, they will give you a loan for like maybe 30-40%, you know, interest. Maybe 20-30% interest you have to pay on that loan, you know. So like I kind of get why people need to go overseas to like go and see things for themselves and like land and come back, get capital and come back and invest in Africa, because like the capital is not there, and we don't have the infrastructure that you can get like a fair loan to start business, to invest in properties and stuff like that. But thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Remember to like it, comment down below. We'll see you in the next one. Peace out.